Longtime viewers of this channel might remember that some of my earliest videos were about the Leica Q2 and how that camera was almost a perfect camera for me. It's a full-frame camera with an EVF, super light and compact, but sort of the thing that kept it from being a perfect camera was USB charging and the lack of ability to change from the 28mm focal length by actually changing the lens on the camera. So to my surprise, this little guy, a camera made by Sony, the nemesis of cool retro things in camera land, comes awfully close to what I was looking for in the Q2. It's super light. The body alone is 550 grams. So depending on the lens you put on this thing, it's super duper light, like way lighter than any Leica camera or any other full frame camera I know. Lighter than a Fuji X-T5 for sure. Lighter than the Nikon ZF. And it's a rangefinder design. Depending on the lens, it's not much more than the 515 grams. Like this little guy weighs something like 40 or 50 grams maybe, the Samyang lens, maybe 100 grams. You don't even feel it on the body. It's so light and easy to carry around. These Sigma lenses are made out of metal, but they're so tiny. I mean, look at this little setup. It's incredible. I also have this slightly heavier Voigtlander, but then it's got 6-bit coding, so you get all the information. It goes to 1.4 manual focus, and it's still super compact. The grip is just super duper comfortable. It's got a flippy screen. What? So right out of the box, totally shocked how much I like this camera. I actually had no intention of buying a Sony. I was at the camera store looking at various Fuji cameras as well as other alternatives in this sort of small compact category because I hadn't been super happy with both the Fuji X-T5 and the Nikon ZF. So I was kind of looking at the Fuji X Pro line or maybe the XH line. And then I saw this, had the guy pull it out at the store at Precision Camera here in Austin. And just really liked it, the way it felt, which was very surprising to me. So I need more time shooting with this, but pretty sure the sensor in here is the same as the Leica Q3. Again, it's a rangefinder style camera, which is my favorite style of camera. I like having my face not totally covered when I'm shooting, especially on the street. But also right out of the box, there are 5 things that I think Sony could change to totally bowl me over, basically make this the perfect camera for me, and or at least for street and non-medium format, in the studio applications, including an everyday carry type camera. So yeah, these are suggestions to improve the camera, but by far this is my favorite Sony camera of all time ever. And I've tried several of the Sony cameras, the A7 III, I tried the A7R5, I love the screen on that, but basically nothing else. And the image quality was quite good, but just the form factor and a lot of things about that camera drove me nuts. Yeah, so please take this as a compliment, great lens selection of the Sony cameras. This is a compliment. This camera has totally blown me away and bowled me over how much I like it. But yeah, so 5 things that Sony could improve on this camera for the next model that will, having me sing praises that I never thought I would sing for a Sony camera. First thing is the viewfinder. I think this is probably the biggest miss on the camera. They should have put a better viewfinder on here. 3.69 dots is just not acceptable for a camera with otherwise high-end features that cost $3,000 new. This should be a 5.69 million dot viewfinder. They basically should have taken the EVF that's in the Q3 and put it in this. They should have taken the EVF from the Leica Q3 and put it in this camera. It's a disgrace they didn't do that. But having said that, the 3.69 viewfinder, which is tiny, seems to be okay. I want more time with it to see if I can hit focus with manual focusing with it reliably in different light sources and things like that. But that is the first thing that stands out where they really missed. The second place where I think they missed a little bit is that there's no joystick on this camera. If you watch my last couple of videos on the Fuji X-T5 versus the Nikon ZF, that was sort of a big plus in the Fuji category, that it has a little joystick on the camera. I'm sure they could have fit one on here and not added much weight to the camera, so that's a really big miss as well. I know you can focus and move the focus point using the screen, but it's just not the same in terms of accuracy. Once you get your focus point in the ballpark with the screen, it's so nice to have that joystick. Also, having the joystick gives you another push-in button to customize as well. So again, a big miss here, should have had a joystick. Less of a miss, but something that, you know, I've seen it, now I want it, is that the A7R5, which this camera basically is the same thing, it has the internals of the A7R5. Oh, by the way, including the fact that, yes, the shutter comes down and protects the sensor and keeps dust off of it. Hallelujah. It basically has the internals of the A7R5, so I don't understand why they didn't put the A7R5 screen on here. It would be totally a win if it had the tilt out and then also flippy screen of this guy. However, again, you know, I'm pretty happy with the flippy screen. I can live with that. More testing to come, how much that bothers me, just because I know I could have had a better screen. I'll also say the resolution on the back screen could be better. This should be matching, you know, Canon and Nikon and Leica cameras by now. This should be a much better resolution screen as well. The fourth thing that I think is a miss in this camera is the memory card slot. There's only one card in here. It looks to me like, hopefully this is focusing here. It looks to me like there is space for two card slots here, and I have to wonder if Sony purposely held back and didn't put the second card slot in. Second, this one card slot doesn't take the Sony fancy USB or whatever it is, SDA, CF Express Type A cards, where you can flip it and it'll take the usual SD card, and then you can flip it over and take the their proprietary CF Express A cards. They should have put that in here as well, I think. I believe the Sony A7R5 has that in it. So again, to match the internals, this should have it too. This is the higher end of their compact line, so they should have put those kinds of higher end features in this camera, I feel like. Also, in terms of the memory card, I feel like Sony got scooped by the Nikon engineers. They could have put a micro SD card in here, and that would have been fine too, to cover that second card slot. Or we could say they got scooped by the Leica engineers. They could have put flash memory in here, which weighs basically nothing, and had internal storage of, 64 gigs or 250, megabytes, gigs. You tell me in the comments below. 56 or 256 of those of storage. So the fifth thing I would suggest changing on this camera is getting rid of the PASM or PASM dial. Do the Fuji. Get some more dials on here, man. Give me the shutter dial. Give me an ISO dial, Then give me the ISO or the exposure compensation dial that I could, customize to ISO or whatever I want. Add some more tactility to this little rangefinder camera, like the rangefinder cameras from Fuji and Leica. Just go head to head with those bad boys. Along those lines, also, I think that Sony could have come out with a set of lenses that go with that tactile experience. Manual focus lens, maybe with a focus clutch as well as an aperture ring. I know Sony came out with a few lenses, the 40, 24, and 50 millimeter lenses that were small and compact. Those feel more like video lenses, even though they have aperture rings. And I don't think it's quite the same thing I'm talking about, of like a fully, manual focusing, tactile, I'm doing everything as if I'm driving a stick shift car type experience with the camera. That would be so cool if they made something like that. Nope. So, in sum, while this is not the fully tactile, fully manual, sort of mechanical, stick shift experience camera of my dreams, it's surprisingly close. I have to say Sony has really impressed me with this one. I'm looking forward to shooting it more to see if it does meet my needs, if this is kind of the best everyday carry camera I'm going to find on the market right now. I plan to get an adapter for this so I can put some Leica glass on here as well, test that out. I may test against some Leica cameras. Stay tuned for that. So yeah, I hope this little initial impressions and suggestions to make a perfect camera Sony video was helpful. Tell me what you think. Could Sony actually make a perfect camera? Could Sony make a camera that might even be better than a Leica camera? I mean, Leica's using these sensors, I'm just saying. Tell me your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Look forward to seeing your comments below. See you in the next one. Bye.